VLEAD is an initiative of SVYM, and VLEAD's mission is to develop human and social capital for nation building by enhancing the potential of individuals and institutions across four sectors. In that sense, uh, VLEAD engages with the government, NGOs, corporates, and the community with a specific focus on youth. Guru Manthan 2020 is an initiative that has been started during this COVID period, particularly a platform where teachers can come, share, discuss, debate, and learn about diverse perspectives and practices in education from across the globe. And over the last few months, we have had the who's who from India's public sphere share their thoughts with us, starting with Dr. Gurraj Karjagi, followed by Professor M.K. Sridhar, the former Chief Election Commissioner of India, Shri T.S. Krishnamurthy, Shri Anurag Baer, Dr. Kasturi Rangan, Mr. Anil Swarup, Mrs. Uma Mahadevan, Dr. Ananta, Mr. Adam Woodward, and many, many more who have shared their Dr. R.S. Praveen Kumar of the IPS and all of them. Uh, and as always, the format of the talk would be as follows. The guest speaker would speak for 25 minutes, followed by a moderated Q&A, where Praveen and I would be picking up questions from the chat box as well as some of our own questions. And for about 25 minutes, this would be. And lastly, the speaker will shall make the closing or concluding remarks. It is also my pleasure to welcome and introduce today's distinguished speaker, Professor T.V. Kattimani. Professor T.V. Kattimani was a member of the drafting committee of the National Education Policy, NEP 2020. Professor Kattimani is the third member of the NEP drafting committee to feature on the Guru Manthan series of lectures, the other two being Shri Anurag Baer and Dr. Kasturi Rangan. Professor Kattimani presently serves as the Vice Chancellor of the Central Tribal University of Andhra Pradesh and was formerly the Vice Chancellor, Indira Gandhi National Tribal University. Professor T.V. Kattimani is also a recipient of the prestigious Karnataka Rajyotsava Prashasti Award 2017, the second highest civilian award in Karnataka, for his remarkable contributions in the area of higher education. It is a privilege to have you, sir, as a guest speaker today, and I'm happy to hand over the session to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good evening to all. It's my privilege to talk on the platform of Swami Vivekananda Youth Movement. I know the contribution of SVYM in the development of tribal areas, rural areas, on the education of rural students. I accepted the invitation when Praveen has extended. I remember once I had a chance to meet Dr. Balu in NAC when we were discussing on NEP. Dr. Balu may be remembering this event. Thank you, Dr. Balu. It's a learning process with your team. And at the same time, I request SVYM's intervention in tribal areas of Andhra Pradesh, where our university is established. There are three backward districts: Vijayanagaram, rural Visakhapatnam, like that. Later, I will discuss all these issues. Thank you for kind invitation.
Privilege that you are joining us, sir.
Thank you, Balaji. Straight away, I would like to tell something about NEP's provisions regarding SC, ST, OBC, minorities, women, transgender, and students from villages, students from small towns, students from mother tongue education, mother tongue background, students from interior places. We have a special group like SCDGs, socio-economically disadvantaged groups. It is called as disadvantaged groups. And students from aspirational districts. Aspirational district, for example, Koppal is an aspirational district in Nizam state. I am from Koppal district. There are many taluks and uh, districts are there where primary education at ground level, employability is almost nil, and students even who are pursuing uh, degree, they are unable to write their names in English, and even they are unable to uh, understand the difference between their mother tongue, sure, sure, so. They are unique characters in Kannada alphabet. We don't know, our students are able to do all these things. So, how to make these students to attract towards education? NEP straight away proposed fellowships, scholarships. Not only that, hostels, like in the model of Kasturba schools, Moraji Desai schools, tribal model schools, which one with great difficulty I established one tribal model school in a central university in Amarkantak, which is now all central universities are, they are requesting government of India to give them in the same model, tribal model school. So not only that, primary education should be strengthened to get the best education for these students. As rightly said by our chairman, Dr. Kasturi Ranganji, numeracy and literacy should be properly taught. The student should know ಒಂದು ಎರಡು ಮೂರು ನಾಲ್ಕು ಐದು ಆರು ಏಳು ಎಂಟು ಹತ್ತು 1 2 3 4 like that 1 2 3 4 10 tak. So these things where the students are unable to cope up with, not only students, some teachers also. So NEP talks about always training of teachers, continuous lifelong teaching, learning of teachers also. Now the teachers must be ready to learn many skills, maybe every day, or two interactions in a day. I this is my, of course, my nature, that teachers, the implications of NEP 2020 depends upon the capacity of the teachers, the devotion of teachers. So not only that, now, for example, today I'm in the Dharwad, in the rural part of Dharwad called Nigadi village. Evening we can see by 4:30, all teachers, lady teachers, primary school teachers will come to bus stand, bus stop to catch out a bus to travel to Dharwad. So the thing is, extra hours for teaching, special hours for teaching. You all know, to teach students from tribal areas, to teach students from unfortunate background, minorities, backward classes, even from villages, all students from all communities, irrespective of caste, creed, and economy, they, we must be able to know, able to learn their problems, their difficulties, what are the bottlenecks, how we can give them self confidence, how to build them. They should know, yes, we students from villages, students from hilly areas, students from rural background, we have many other jobs to attend. Yes, by attending this, we many people, maybe Dr. Balu or me, in the village, in our village, before going to school, I used to go to field and fetch grass for our buffaloes and go to school. After coming from school, again go to field to help my mother, my father, or to take care of my young sisters and brothers. This is the situation of all over India, pan-Indian. It is not only Karnataka, it is not only Sarguru, it is everywhere. We must accept this is part of our life of SEDGs, part of our girl students. Girl students have to take more trouble, more labor. They have to take care of kitchen. They have to take care of cleaning of house. They have to collect firewood to help the mother, and they have to clean the utensil, clean the clothes. This is part of our education. As a teacher, it's my belief. It is not a curse. It is not a burden. It is a training. We teachers, we trainers have to teach the students. It is all life skills are part of our life. All life skills part of our education, inside the classroom and outside the classroom for SEDGs. So NAP has suggested that to open the gates of the courses which are pursued by the SEDGs group students, to introduce bridge courses. For example, a student who are pursuing their 7th standard in a village, for example, Nigadi, we should be able to teach them extra hours, the mathematics, 1 day mathematics, 1 day science, 1 day English, or 1 day for maybe continuously soft skills, how to say good morning, how to say good evening. If he or she is talking to even our mother tongue in Kannada itself, how to address the teacher, how to address the headmaster. Somebody has come, how to invite her, the guest, how she should be invited. These things, by telling, by introducing, by suggesting, the students of these groups are very sharp, not shy. They are very sharp. We have to open their heart. We have to open their mindset, telling them, you may be black, you may be dark, you may be, your nose may not be good, your eyes may not be good, your hairs may not be good, but you are good in your subject. You are good. You are a human being. As Bapuji told to the world, heart is one, blood is one. This is how we have to take the students into confidence. Because of this holistic approach of my teachers, I could become, I could earn something in my lifespan. This is the story of the rural India. As I told the house earlier, agriculture service, cattle service, livestock service, cleaning the house, these are part of our education. These should be part of our education. So NEP is now talking about life skills should be taught to everybody. As a student, as a vice chancellor in two rural areas, I have seen, to teach life skills for rural students, it is not necessary. We have to teach them exhibition skills. We have to tell them modern technological skills. How usually we used to tell this tutti frutti Angrezi. English may not be good there, but they should use English words. By using English words, they will learn composition of sentences one day. And mathematics always, SEDG group is, we are all behind mathematics. English and mathematics, we may not, we love to walk with the tiger, but it's not possible to walk with mathematics. It is not possible to live with mathematics. This is the status of rural India and tribal India and Dalit India. But there is a way that teachers must know. The teachers should know what are the skills available with these students and where they are lacking. And usually the mathematics students, while entering into classroom itself, first they will say, to learn mathematics is a great task, very difficult task. Mathematics is a big subject, very tough subject too. It is not the way to teach. We should tell mathematics is very easy. Mathematics, anybody can learn mathematics. Anybody can learn mathematics. You can learn mathematics because I learned mathematics. This must be the mental status of a teacher, especially in rural schools, especially with schools with girl students, schools in urban area where people are from not skilled area, unskilled people where they live. There, teachers must understand. I'm no from beginning. I'm talking about the role of teachers while teaching the rural students, while teaching the students from agriculture background, from artisan background, a son of a kumhar, a son of a potter, a son of a carpenter, a son of a sonar. They are coming with some special skills inherent by them. I am son of a agriculturist. I am son of a gopalak. We know about livestock. We know about cow. We know about buffalo. We know about their children. We know the utility of gobar. We know utility of their mutra. These skills, these specialities, the teachers must be able to understand that this boy, this girl has a skill with her. And the teacher, according to NEP 2020, has to support the inherited skills of the students. It means students, a teacher now, he has to have some psychological skills to understand the ability of a girl, ability of a boy, ability of a boy from a minority community whose father and mother never seen the face of the school. They don't know Urdu, they don't know Kannada, they don't know English, they don't know Telugu, Tamil, but they have a urge to send their children. My child, my girl should learn something. She should earn something. She should give us something. This sociological background, our teachers must know. So NEP 2020 talks about, education should be given to all these students. What type of education? Education in their own mother tongue. Soliga, children should get education at least up to 6th standard in their mother tongue. Hasaloru should get their education in mother tongue. Gaulis who lives in ghats, forest, they should be given proper weightage. So to know the basics, fundamentals of the subjects, we need to give them education in mother tongue. As well as from 6th standard, a skill should be given to them. What type of skill? Skills already which they know. For example, many people we know pottery, many people we know blacksmithery, many people we have been trained by our parents or because of my ancestors, we know carpentry. Maybe 15 days in Andhra Pradesh, one vice chancellor of engineering universities, we met each other. I was talking about this. Then immediately he said, now students are accepting blacksmithery. They are accepting pottery, but they are not ready to accept carpentry. Immediately I said, we can change the nomenclature of carpentry course. We can call it wood engineering, wood art. So by doing so, a small intelligence, a small local touch and international touch definitely give a international shape to the courses. Our vice chancellors, our registrars, our headmasters, our principals, our DDPI should come down. We should come down. Means I, as vice chancellor, I must come down from our ivory tower. My duty is not to go to and touch the heart of the students. Actually, my duty is to touch the beat of the heart of the students. Then only the students of minority groups, the students of ST groups, the students of SC groups will come to closer. The girl students are very morally very high and very, very much skillful students we have in our state, in our country. We have to support them with their skills. And so the institutions, academic administrators should be able to tell the students what course you can take, in which course employability is more, what is the demand of the course. For example, now I'm everywhere, I'm talking to my students, especially in our university in Andhra Pradesh. We have planned to start a diploma course in virology, a diploma course in honey processing art, a diploma course in processing of kodo and kutki, millet processing of cashew nut, because cashew nut is ample in my area in Andhra Pradesh. Processing of coir industries, making bed sheets, making mat. These things, being a vice chancellor of a central university, I'm talking, these things should be part of central university now. A student of chemistry should take admission in a diploma in coir making, in cashew processing certificate courses, diploma courses, so that one or the other way she will get a livelihood skill. NEP talks about you have to introduce such courses, bridge courses, so that students can cope up. We can see she may not, a girl may not be good in BSc chemistry, but she may be good in coir processing course. Then we can support her in coir processing. In meanwhile, now Andhra Pradesh is processing, means they will clean the coir and make a bundle and send it to Kolkata for Kolkata or Kerala for making materials. Now I am merging with my counterparts, NIT, IITs. We can develop some courses, such courses in everywhere, not only IITs, not only NIT, everywhere, even in our institute, that the students or teachers may be able to make mattresses, beds, pillows out of that. So by doing so, what Bapuji has said, work and knowledge should go together. While earning, she should be able to learn, while learning, she should be able to earn something. Then only parents will be happy to send the students to the institutions. I don't know, Praveen, my time is over.
Sir, another 5 minutes.
Okay. So, as we all know, degree is a piece of paper. Real education can be seen in behavior of a student. We educators, we academic administrators, we institute developers, teachers must understand what we are giving degree, what we are giving certificate. It is not education. The students should exhibit their education, exhibit their our culture of our institute, culture of our university, culture of our center. Then only education will have its own importance. We have Indian knowledge systems. Quickly, we have to cope up with these streams: Indian languages, Indian culture, values, indigenous medicinal practices. Yes, your institution is working with tribal areas. You know, one or the other day, this medicinal healing system, tribal healing system, indigenous medicinal practices will come into light. We have to train the students because this knowledge already they are having. We have indigenous seeds system, we have sports system, for students of rural India, students from tribal India, students from hill. They are extremely good in sports. They may not good in mathematics, they may not good in English, but their physical expression, their physical education, their physical exhibition, physical poetry is exactly very strong. Unfortunately, we could not make any future, make any syllabi out of this specialization of these people, strength of these people. Now NEP has identified the strength of India, rural India, tribal India, and another we have culture, tribal culture, rainwater harvesting. I would like to ask the House why we are unable to make a course on rainwater harvesting. We can start degree, we can start BG, we can start diploma, we can start certificate. By doing so, these students will have their own business. They will have their own avenues, adventures, and they may be able to join any course. With these few words, now I will conclude, and for a discussion, the House is open. Thank you very much. Yes, Praveenji.
Thank you, sir. We have some questions coming in. I just wanted to kind of pick up on one of the aspects which you mentioned about the courses, different varieties of courses which are being offered as vocational programs or certificate programs or diploma programs. Have they, how long have they been around, and have they actually resulted in some economic benefits or ensuring that students continue education?
That's right. It's wonderful. See, a girl is pursuing chemistry, BSc chemistry in our university. She is from rural background, from Telugu background, unable to cope up with English medium teaching and the toughest chemistry. But at the same time, she should go in chemistry itself. You know what we can do? Our girl students are very good in cooking. We can introduce a diploma in Indian culinary art. The first thing we will ask, who will teach? I would like to tell the House, anybody can teach who are good in cooking. For teaching the cooking, the art of cooking, we need not to go for English medium. We should not go for French medium. It's Hindi medium. It's when we are in Telugu Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, the teacher can use Telugu itself. Anybody who doesn't know Telugu, one or two, translation sessions will be taken up. By doing so, the girl will be very good in cooking and she will complete diploma in cooking. In my institute, there may not be BSc cooking, but she is eligible to go anywhere. Tirupati, there is a National Institute of Cooking, Culinary Art. Noida, there is a National Institute of Art. There they can go, or they can fight with me to start BSc in culinary art. I will be happy to do that. By doing so, we can make wonders. We can make wonders, and this is how NEP suggests that we must think out of box. Thank you.
So thank you very much, sir. Just a question on the aspect of special tribal schools, and your point about they have certain special skills that you want to encourage, build, and and the point about them already having their there is already a lot of learning that they already have based on their knowledge of say agriculture and all of that. But one of the questions, actually a two-part question I had, was how do we now? One of the things that the NEP mentions is also is that there is greater inclusiveness, and we include everybody as part of the education, mainstreaming of education itself.
Yes.
So my question is, if we have separate schools for tribals and other people, how do we ensure education? And the second question is, do you think that we should, in the long run, look at making this more inclusive and less separate kind of education, or do you think for now we need to continue as we are doing right now?
Thank you. Yes, the person who has asked the question is very right. There is a question of inclusivity and exclusivity. I tried to make a separate school in Amarkantak, the residential school for tribal students. The approval was given only tribal students. While implementing, I have made it 10% non-tribal students too. By doing so, I know in our governing body, the tribal teachers, Dalit teachers started fighting with me. Of course, they were good. They are good friends, saying that, sir, we are crossing our limit. It is only for tribes. We should give admission 10% only tribes. I said, my dear, exactly it is there. The constitution says the like that. But the thing is, think about practicability. How is that? Vice Chancellor is tribe, Registrar is tribe, Dean is tribe, Principal is tribe, teachers are tribe, the cook is tribe, the server is tribe, the cleaner is tribe, the boy is tribe, the girl is tribe. How they will learn many more skills, how they will interact many more cultures, how they will learn interactions, soft skills. So we need 10 students, 10% students out of 100. There must be 10 students from other communities, and they should mingle. They should mingle. The tribal boy should know how a son of a Pandit is. Early morning, he will wake up and he will have a bath, he will have a chant, he will have a Hanuman Stotra, Hanuman Chalisa, how he is very clean. By following, so by seeing, by following, by seeing, the boys, the girls will learn many things. This is how within 2 years we can, we are seeing the change. This is actually it is interaction in India. Everything is inclusive. By creating a tribal model school, it is not. It is here. Admission is not forbidden to a Brahmin boy. Admission is not forbidden to a Thakur girl. They are. but their number is less. The number of tribes are high, little high. But at this, I have seen, that these 10% boys, they were leaders. 90%, tribes usually like sheep. They are very calm, quiet, and good followers. Good followers. But first year they were good followers, the boys and girls. In the second year, they started taking lead. This is how it was my ambition as a vice chancellor. But another one positive development was done. These 10% boys who are not aware of tribal culture, habits, food, dance, music, culture, now they started learning. This is how this interface has created a wonderful atmosphere. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, another question based on our own experience in the tribal school that we run. We see that the indigenous tribal groups, among those kids, the social values are very, very strong, and something which other mainstream people should aspire to learn from them. But there is a fear that somewhere in the run for marks and having a more mainstream or a job seeking sort of education, are we going to compromise on that? Or what are the provisions in the NEP to focus on those things?
Yes, this rat race will be concluded now. It will be finished by NEP 2020. As you rightly said, I would like to tell something about one value of tribes in the pan-Indian sector. They are known for their aparigraha. Aparigraha. What is that aparigraha? No accumulation. No accumulation of seed, no accumulation of anas, no accumulation of firewood, no accumulation of even drinking water. Even drinking water. This aparigraha is the value of Bharat. It is a value of our whole Mahabharata, Ramayana, and everything. But it is not our practice. In the mainstream, it is not the practice. Everything is grahana. Everything is, we have to earn more, earn more, earn more. In tribal, even today, it is not earn more. Earn, which is necessary for today, not tomorrow, not tomorrow. This culture, aparigraha, should be the culture of our schools, culture of our teachers, culture of me as vice chancellor, as academic administrator. Then only the students of all communities, languages, and economic status will come together, and one day India will become a aparigraha state. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. There's another question from the audience. Among the tribal groups in India, across India, we see that people have progressed to, depending on the community they come from, people have progressed to different levels. Like if we go to the Northeast, there's very, very faint boundaries between a mainstream community and someone from the tribal community. But somewhere in the central parts of India, there's a lot more to be done. Any reasons why this has happened, or what are those lessons that we can learn from whatever we have seen across India?
In northeastern states, instability, geographical instability, political instability, cultural instability, linguistic instability, and religious instability is always there. Because of that, they are very aggressive, more aggressive, and they are very self-concentrated on their own tribe. Once in Manipur, I visited a small village of 20 houses. out of 20 houses, there were 4 tribes. Each tribe maybe 2, 4, 6, 7 like that. 4 tribes means 4 languages. 4 languages means 4 cultures, 4 food habits, 4 worship habits are separate. And they are fighting for, they need their education in their own mother. Small group is fighting for their right. Here, Gond in central part of India, Gond is a biggest tribe. Gondi is a very established language. Gondi painting is a established painting. Gondi literature, Gondi painting, Gondi music, Gondi instruments, Pradhan painting, Pradhan music. But they are not fighting for their Gondi language, literature, music, art, and culture. This is the difference between many tribes. Even some tribes who are nearby Gujarat from Madhya Pradesh, they are Bhils. I am talking about Bhils. They are very furious. They are fighting. They are fighting. They are fighting for the language. They are fighting for their Pithora paintings. They are fighting for their music. They are fighting to preserve their forest rights. This is, they have their own DNA. All tribes, they have their own. Some tribes are very, furious. They are always fighting for this thing. Some tribes are, for Baigas of central India, whose number is diminishing. Number is coming down because of sickle cell anemia and many more diseases. But they never fight for their rights. Baigani is a wonderful language. They have wonderful knowledge of herbs. They are wonderful knowledge of roots. They are number one in identifying the names. They Gunadharma, characteristics of forest. But we never, our forest department, our botany department, environment department, we never bother to appoint them a range forest officer or forester or anything, because we always neglect the strength of the student. We always never care for their strength, their pre-knowledge. Our education should understand these, especially the tribal children coming with heritage of knowledge. And the boy, after passing 10th, the tribal boy who is good in medicinal plants, identifying the plants, will be appointed as fire watcher. Or he will be appointed as an attender to DFO, who never seen the forest before joining as DFO. I never say DFOs are bad. Many good officers, after joining, they will cultivate authenticity. They will cultivate the knowledge, identifying the forest and its nature. But our education, our forest department, our environment department, and our research labs should be able to understand the pre-knowledge of the students, of the researchers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. A question picked up from the chat, and also something that I'll slightly add to that. I think the question is, you did mention that, but what are the specific challenges you have faced in getting students to enroll and also to not drop out? Because even at our tribal schools, SPYM, initially there was a huge challenge in not only in enrolling but also in making them continue. And the second part of that is also is there, how do you find the acceptance of girl students now? Has there been a change from the earlier to now, and how that is
wonderful
changing?
question. I love to answer. It is a great success story in the and tribal land of our areas. Earlier, usually, they will be very afraid of to enter into school, colleges, universities. I joined Amarkantak in the year 2014, January. The whole year, I 2 days in a week, I traveled to the interior parts of Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, and Andhra Pradesh, especially Telangana. And I spoken to people. I visited schools. I spoken to headmasters. I spoken to principals. I spoken to even vice chancellors. And I requested them. In fact, I requested them. I would like to talk to the students of all of students. Maybe tribals may be there. By doing so, from the 2015 our entrance, we have seen earlier the application rate was maybe 1,000, 2,000. We have seen 14,000 applications we have received. And wherever I used to go, I address the media. I talk to the TV people, radio people. Maybe a small journalist, I will have a cup of tea and talk to him. And I used to ask him, there is one university about tribes. It is for tribes. Ask your tribal people to apply for jobs. Ask your tribal students to get PhD seats, BSc seats, MSc seats. Everything is free. It is not free. But I said, when the students came, sir, we don't have anything. We had a provision and I made it everything free, or sometime I paid. I requested many people to pay, and we have created a poor students fund, a huge amount. From that budget, we have we could able to pay the fees of the hostel fees, boarding fees, sometimes medical attendance. We capable to done that. It is how I would like to tell the house. It is not the law will take care of the disadvantaged groups. This is the teachers who can take care of disadvantaged groups. This is the vice chancellors, principals, headmasters, registrars, owner of the institution should take care of everything. Once we take care of everything, definitely, but take care of everything, we should give out of our pocket. It is not there. There are many agencies. There are many agencies through whom we can support the needs of the students to solve their troubles. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. As an extension to the answer you have just mentioned, one of the criticisms about NEP, or a lot of the initial questions about the NEP, was about no mention of RTA being extended beyond 8th standard. And right now we have the first batch of students in these private schools who were supported by the state governments, who have been enrolled in private schools. And what next? What after 8th standard?
It is extended. It is continued. In fact, RT is redefined. It is redefined. Let us wait up to the directions. Once issued, it will be clear.
Thank you, sir. Sir, one more question before we move towards the closing remarks. And in another couple of sessions, I had seen that a lot of education for the disadvantaged groups focused a lot on vocational education. And again, one of the issues being raised was, is vocational education targeted at poverty alleviation and not necessarily education per se? Your comments on that?
Thank you. Thank you. Very good question. Actually, somebody asked me one. Professor Kattimani, you are always talking about pottery will be the part of education. It means NEP will be talking about the children of the potter should become potter only. Then I told the NEP talks about everybody's children should become potter. And potter's children is already a potter. He should become carpenter. He should become engineer. He should become doctor. He should become nurse. He should become teacher. This is how it is a opening of a revolution. NEP 2020, it is a opening of a revolution. Definitely, we are going to establish a casteless society in our country. Now, earlier, I was identified by my villagers. Kattimani, he is son of Talwar Enkappa. Because Talwariki, watching the village was our profession. The son of a carpenter will be identified as a Badiger. Now, everybody will learn carpentry because there is a huge, kickbacks there, huge salary is there. Employability is assured in pottery. Employability is assured in sonar. So naturally, our students will go for pottery, go for such courses, traditional courses. Even hand weaving should be part of our classroom education because of awareness, the whole society is towards cotton, hand woven vastra, kapde. So then slowly the society will go into, it's in such a way that we will unable to identify who is carpenter, who is Brahmin, and who is Sunar, who is Sunar and who is Kshatriya, who is Kshatriya and who is Lingayata. It is not possible to identify. If we have implemented NEP with its true spirit. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Before we move to the closing remarks, last month we had Dr. R.S. Praveen Kumar from the Telangana state come and share his experience about running a society which has over 1,000 institutions which focus on students from disadvantaged groups. And he actually spoke about how simple quality education can be provided at scale to children from disadvantaged communities. Have you come across similar systems?
I'm sorry, I could not follow.
Sir, I was just talking about Dr. R.S. Praveen Kumar's work, where he spoke about quality education being the means or the path to upliftment of the disadvantaged or the underprivileged communities. And he actually demonstrated his work at scale. Have you come across similar models, or what are the big lessons that we can pick up from such models, such work being done across the country?
No, from disadvantaged groups or anybody?
Anybody.
I mean. Anybody, it's wonderful. We have local innovators in our society. Local innovators, local researchers who are not certificate holders, who their innovation is frugal. They are spending a couple of hundreds to make their innovations. And now NEP talks about to include these innovations, frugal innovations, local innovations by non-certificate holders into syllabus. So, but further, as Vice Chancellor, as implementer, as academic administrator, I would like to tell teachers, these people should be brought to our curriculum to make our curriculum syllabus. Not only that, they should be brought to our labs to support innovation by our trained scientist who is a certificate holder, who is a PhD holder, but he never had any invention, history of invention, innovation, history of making water harvesting very simple area. Never thought of how ladies are struggling to plant paddies. How much struggle they are taking, morning to evening, they should be bent 90 centigrade. To make it simple, our lab scientists never tried. But our local innovators, frugal innovators, always trying. Please, we can go to NIF website where such models are runs in lakhs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for a very inspiring, as well as taking your time to answer all these questions. We can now go to your closing remarks, sir. Your closing remarks to the audience.
Thank you. Thank you very much. In fact, by your interference, your questions, your informations triggered a lot. New ideas came from you people, and I must be salute to the organization, Baluji, that you are extremely doing good. You are serving the unserved. You have reached the unreached. You will be the pioneers to implement NEP 2020. Because for you, it's very easy to implement, because your stakeholders are not rat racers. Your stakeholders are not they are not aspiring Nobel Prize. Of course, many students, parents spending crores of rupees aspiring Nobel, they could not make it. They could not make it. But your students can aspire Nobel Prize. With these few remarks, I would like to conclude my speech. I extend my heartfelt thanks to Baluji and Praveen and all my friends for giving me a great opportunity to talk about differently. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Pranam.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. I think this was not just an inspiring and talk, but also I think the patience with which you answered each question was extremely helpful. The entire talk was down to earth, practical, very practicable, and with the flavor of the earth in each sentence that you spoke.
Thank you.
So I want to
you love to know I conducted this webinar sitting in my farmland. It is my farmhouse.
Thank you very much for that. This one.
Thank
it was extremely useful. I also must take this opportunity to thank Dr. Balu and my colleague Praveen, as well as all the people within SVYM WeLead who have made this possible and continue to make it possible. And also big thanks to all of the participants who keep coming and encouraging us. As we continue to go every week, again, every Saturday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Please do join us. The next week, we'll have Dr. Anuradha Chowdhury, the Assistant Professor and Joint Faculty, Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, the Reiki Center of Excellence for the Science of Happiness, IIT Kharagpur, on Indian approach to integral education. Please do join us. It's the same meeting ID and the passcode. You can also keep your questions coming. You can also share your feedback. You can write into Praveen at the email ID and the phone, or message him at the number, or write into me. That is Ramesh Venkatraman at my email ID and this one, and the phone numbers. Please keep your feedback coming. Please keep going, and we will keep bringing you more interesting talks. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend and
Thank you.
good day.
Thank you,
Good
sir.
day.